Okay, so in the previous video, I talked about how you can use this layered approach in order to keep things rendered in a specific order that you want. But sometimes this approach might not be enough. For example, you might have different properties that you want the entities to be ordered by, and these properties can be very how do I call it? They can change a lot. So because of that, it might not be sensible to use this layered approach because you'll have to deal with like removing the view from the container and then adding it to another layer. Then doing this might be a bit of a hassle. Sometimes we might want another approach where we just render the views in an order that is dictated by some kind of property. So in this video, we'll be going through how we can do that. So first, I just want to talk about views themselves. So if you look at the view implementation, and I just do this by going on here. So there's this view. You see that it implements this extra interface as well. So if you look here, and if you look at the implementation, it's basically a way to add properties to your different views. And then you can set the properties and then get the properties for your different usage. So for example, the way that you can use this for ordering is that first you can create some kind of data class or something just to dictate the ordering of different views or different layers. And a way that you can do this is by adding some kind of enum class, and we'll just call this the z-index class. Note that we don't need to create an enum class. You can implement this using a data class if you want it to as well, or a simple integer or some kind of comparable number would do as well. So in this enum class, I'll have a none thing, and then a background layer, foliage layer, character, and what else? UI. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to re-implement what we had down here. So to make this quick, let's go ahead and copy and paste this stuff here. And instead of adding these components to these different layers, let's just do this. So it's creating these different objects on this base stage thing. And I think the stage itself is implemented using a container. So yeah, the next thing that we want to do is we want to add a property that represents the z-index here. And just recall, it doesn't have to be enum class. You can use a value as well. And let's give our property a name. So let's call this z-index property. So this will just be a very simple string. And if you do set extra, you see that it provides us with this method here for setting the property. So we'll just do z-index property. I believe this was the background. So z-index dot background. And we want to do something very similar for all of these. So let's go ahead and do that. So set extra, set extra. This is also set extra. I don't need the supply actually, so I could remove this out of the way. And what was this? This was the foliage. This was the character. And this was the user interface, UI. All right. And just to note, since the container is added in the specific order, even without any kind of sorting, we will already have it be the way that we want it. So just to, here, I'll just show you first. So yeah, just to show that this can work, I'll reorder this so that it's not what we expect. So in reverse order, then if we go ahead and run it, then you'll see that the background layer is covering everything up, or the background rectangle is covering everything. Okay, and the really important method here that makes this all work is this keep children sorted by some kind of value here. Right, so the way that we can do it is that we can keep the children sorted by this extra value. So get extra typed. This is the z-index property. And note that it can be null. So because of that, in the case that it is null, then we'll use the z-index.none. So if we go ahead and run it, then yeah, you see that things are sorted by our value here, which is great. Exactly what we want. But yeah, let's and to show off that like you don't need an enum class. Oh yeah, by the way, the reason why I implemented using an enum class is that each enum that you add gets its own like little value assigned. So I believe the first one is 0, the second one is 1, 3, 4, 5. So this is just an easy way to do it, but you don't need this. So I'll show off how you can do it without the enum class. You can just use values. So for UI, let's do 500. Character, we can do 400. Foliage, 300. Background, 200. And then this is an integer now. So without this z-index, we can return is 0. So we go ahead and run it. Then yeah, it's sorted by this number now instead of an enum class. Also using a data class would also work. So we had a data class that represented some kind of entity, and then val, index, z-index, number, like this. You can reference this entity and these properties instead of a number. All right, so yeah, I think that is all that I have to say. There's also a bunch of different methods here. So if you want to sort the children only once, then you can use sort children by. Note that keep children sorted by will run every time you add something new, I think. So yeah, you see here that it creates this comparator, and then keep children sorted by, it creates this component which it attaches to the view. So every time it's updated, then I'm guessing that it runs this sorted children by component. Alrighty, yeah, I hope this helps. So yeah, this is two different approaches that you can take in order to keep things sorted by some specific rendering order. Yep, that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye.